Hello and welcome to another episode of Fintech Focus TV with me, Toby. Today, I'm absolutely delighted to be joined all the way from New York City by Keren Goshen from Metechi. Keren, how are you?
Hi, Toby. How are you? I'm good. New York is not New York that everyone knows, but
Definitely
it
not,
is
is
what
it?
it is.
So listen, I've been going out there, sort of 4 or 5 times a year for the last 4 or 5 years now since we opened up in New York, and I absolutely love it. But it's been hit incredibly hard recently, hasn't it? And I think the sort of sparkle of New York has been, it was similar to London over here. It's very difficult to sort of have a capital, or a city of such vibrancy that's suddenly transformed so much. Tell us a little bit about what's happening out there at the moment. Where are we in the
So
curve?
on Sunday, we had beautiful weather, not in December New York weather. So we went out and we said, okay, let's go and take a look on like the famous tree in Rockefeller Center. So usually to get to see the tree in like a normal year, it will take you like 2 hours to wait in line. And then you'll get to like a peak of the tree, like with tons of people. So this year it was completely empty, no
Was it? Wow.
lines. Yeah, and then
And is there still the skating there as well?
yeah, but it's completely empty. You can actually go and ski. See, like this skating. It's like the first time that you have a chance to actually do it. But it is sad because New York is so different, and you're walking on Fifth Avenue, and this is like the peak season of gifts and buying and shopping, and the stores are empty, and Fifth Avenue is empty. And then you start to realize how hard New York was heated by COVID. It's like it's unbelievable.
Well, look, it'll make the bounce back even more pronounced, won't it? I'm looking forward
Yeah,
to seeing that happen. We will see that robust comeback, and I'm pleased to see the vaccines started to be rolled out there as well. So look, we'll come on to all of that. There's loads to be talking about, and but I want to talk about you've got an incredible journey, and I'm really looking forward to diving into that in a bit more detail. But before we do that, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing. Metechi sounds like a really interesting business. Not talking in too crass a manner, it's a really interesting time for the area that you're in at the moment, isn't it? Couldn't be better sort of situated with what's happening in the global economies at the moment. So please do give us a little bit of background about Metechi and your journey so far.
Thanks. So we started Metechi somewhere on 2018, and we had in mind like actually a digital syndication desk. So working with banks and financial institutions and connecting between them to allow them to do more commercial real estate deals, and get to know more people and have more relationships. So let's assume someone like the bank need to write a loan of $50 million. So sometimes they say, yes, we can do a $50 million. Sometimes they say, no, it's too big for us. So we came in exactly there. So the bank can always say yes to a $50 million if he feels that the deal is right for him. So then he will come to us and he'll say, we want to write only $20 million check. Can you help us find someone to write a $30 million check? And together we can write this loan. So that's how Metechi started. It was before COVID, and we thought about, if you'll think about JP Morgan and the big ones, so they have this fancy syndication desk. They have tons of people working there. They have like, they know everyone. Everyone wants to work with them, so they can close every deal because they always have partners. But in the United States, we have like 6,000 banks, and maybe the big 30 has a syndication desk, but all the rest do not. So they just need this capability to work together and to finance deals together. And that's how Metechi started. Today, we're much, much smarter, and we can do much more. So we can do the syndication and participation part, and we can do a whole loan sale. We can do auction. We can do bids. We can do origination on new loans. So now Metechi is not a digital syndication desk, but it's like a desk to manage all your debt strategy.
Okay, and that I'm fascinated by these sort of gaps in the market and how they appear and where people respond to this sort of demand. Where did that come from? What made you see that, and what was the sort of vision and the purpose behind launching?
So it was was a weird story that we read on the Israeli newspapers,
Okay.
that sponsors and borrowers from the States are going to raise money in Israel, and they are doing all kind of like weird things to get to Israel and structure deals different to sell it to the Israeli market. And then the Israeli market looks at it and rate it very low. And it was a real gap between if they cannot raise the money here in the States for 4%, why should they go to Israel and they can get 4% in Israel, but they cannot get a rate of 4% in the United States? So what's the difference between what's going here and what's going there? So Israelis are really, really smart. The market is really sophisticated. So why they are saying yes to 4% rate and the US market are saying no to 7-8% for the same deal? And then we realized that it's just a gap of it's a gap of deal flow, and it's a gap of relationships. So Israelis doesn't have access to each and every deal that is happening here. They don't know everyone here. And if you're not like a huge institution or a huge bank in Israel, you don't know what's going on here. So you just need access. You need someone that will allow you to get the deal flow. And when you're getting the deal flow, you're getting also the relationship for the next deal. So you're doing one deal, for the next deal, you'll have like the relationship and people will reach out to you. So that was like, we just realized that the access is really, people missing the access to the deal flow and missing the ability to see the deals and create a relationship. And then we took a long tour on the financial markets here in the States, and we realized it's almost the same. So if you're like, again, 30 largest bank in the States and 30 largest fund in the States, no one needs to introduce you anyone, okay? So if you're a Blackstone, BlackRock, KKR, or JP and Wells Fargo, you don't need help. You'll be fine. But if you're bank number 100 and you have like 50, 70, maybe $100 billion assets under management, you're a huge bank, you don't know everyone. So sometimes you do need those relationships. And the other thing that we found is like, it's not about the relationship and the deal flow, it's also about the management. So it's like banks are doing business in more old-fashioned way. And now we came with a product that is very, very advanced technology-wise. We put a lot of effort on the user experience part. So it's easy, it's fun. So even if you're working for a bank, you can still use products that are advanced and it's fun to work with, and they are very, very efficient. And it's not like those old-fashioned products that were like around 25 years ago.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's, you know, I alluded to it a little bit beforehand as well. This is this is kind of like the perfect storm in many ways for this sort of industry. You know, we're in at a time. Yeah. Look, you started the business 3 years ago, was it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So 3 years ago, we've had various economic cycles that we were looking at, but we've probably seen a bit of strength in the US market in particular, and sort of growth in the economy over a sustained period. Mm-hmm. This year, that's obviously been shaken a little bit for everything that you've just mentioned in terms of the high street through to everything else. We've seen a fundamental change in economics that's created many problems all over the world. And we were talking beforehand. A series of non-performing loans, and I love this. And I'm going to quote you directly: a tsunami of distressed debt. Right. So we're seeing this this incredible story behind distressed debt that's happened from a macroeconomic basis, that we don't know necessarily what comes out the other side of that, or what the economics of it are going to look like in 6, 12, 18 months, and how economies globally survive this and then rebuild from it. We've seen a governmental change in the States, which obviously has a completely shift in policies, with some interesting sort of throw out over here in the UK. Brexit and such like puts another face on everything as well. So we're seeing a very, very interesting market that you're sat in. Does that work well for you? Does that uncertainty create further problems, and how do we shape it into an opportunity? How are you shaping it into an opportunity?
So first of all, it was really it shake us up, and it was the hardest timing for the startup, and it's never good to be a small startup on like when a huge tsunami is coming. Okay, it's like you're very small, the market is huge, and banks here in the States were completely shut down. It took them a while to go back to do commercial real estate. I still see numbers that are speaking about 50% drop in new origination in the United States. So this is like 50% of the new origination is gone, not doing it all. We do see, because banks didn't move fast enough, and they were very busy with the PPP loans. So some of the market did shift to non-banks lenders, to direct lenders, bridge lenders. The funds took a lot of like the work from the banks. But then prices are different when it's like the work is shifting from a bank that is writing the loan to a debt fund that is writing the loan. You won't get the same interest rate, that's for sure. So we see a lot of shifting in pricing also. So, but starting like around June, we decided, after really thinking it over and over, that Metechi is a great solution, and it's like real, and it's good positioning for dealing with the stressed debt sale. So we know it will take a while. Everyone expected the distressed debt tsunami and wave to start at the end of 2020. But because, as you said, of different regulations and different government support, we're moving to Q1, Q2 of 2021, but it will happen. So the numbers are speaking about $400 billion of distressed debt only in the United States. I'm not speaking about the UK, Germany, France, Europe, the Far East. Okay, so this is just the US. This is a huge market that's mainly banks, but also funds and other lenders will have to take those loans out of their book, either because regulation will make them do it, like what we saw back in 2008, or because they just want to like save whatever they can save and just get rid of the loan, take it off their books and move forward. So to do so, that's where technology is getting into and helping you and supporting the sale of the distressed debt. So let's assume a bank need to get rid of like a $500 million loan that he needs to sell. Sometimes behind this portfolio, you can see hundreds of different loans that are making this 500 million portfolio. So the bank will have two different choices. He will either come directly to us, put the loan on the platform. And when I'm saying put, it's like just, we created a beautiful wizard that will take them through. They'll just put all the details in. It will create a beautiful teaser for them, open a data room. They'll push out all their documents inside the data room. They'll push the button and we'll send it to all potential buyers that our algorithm find as a match to this specific portfolio. The other thing that they can do, and a lot of banks are doing that, is they'll give the broker this portfolio, but the broker, instead of like picking the phone and sending tons of email, he will come to us and will do the exact same process. But the bank will just have someone to help them manage the sale, because selling the notes is not like writing the notes. It's you need different skills. It's a different ball game. So you need someone that can actually manage the sale. So it's either the bank, if it's big enough and have like a special asset team, or they'll go to a broker, or it depends on the size of the loan. But eventually it will come to us and we will help them sell it.
So you've written in the past about sort of technology being a sort of driver of solutions into this space, and how tech can sort of come in and disrupt an industry that's been around for a long time, realistically. Talk to me about how that comes in and how tech provides a much better solution for it, because I'm really fascinated at the moment. I've been speaking all year to companies there who are identifying these sort of pain points and these friction points. inexperience and being able to sort of deliver genuine solutions to it. Tell us about how tech is helping people in this sort of scenario.
Okay, so first of all, we're not the only company that is doing that, but this is such a huge market, so there is a place for more. And what we did different, and that's why we pull technology to help, is usually the old platform, what they'll do, they'll take the deal from the bank and they'll either act as a broker for the bank or run an auction on this deal. But the bank or the seller is losing complete control on the deal. Okay. So once you gave it to the platform, what like 20 years back they called technology, it was, you just lost it. It's like going to an auction house. Okay. You gave it, they'll do the auction, you'll get what you'll get, and that's it. So we thought technology can help them use a different approach and say, you're the bank, you know better than us, or hire a broker that know better than both of us, and but still have a complete control over your deal. So we'll have technology help you control your deal. So you can have a one-stop shop for everything. You'll upload the deal, you'll have a data room, you'll have a live chat, you'll have a video call, everything is on the platform. Now it will allow you to manage your deal better, and we'll connect you on the other side to thousands of buyers that, like in a click of a button, will sign the NDA, get access to your data room, and start a conversation with you. So it's like, here technology is the first streamlining this process and making this relationship doable. So if you think about LinkedIn, so I'm always saying that before LinkedIn, everyone thought they know everyone. It's like, oh, I know everyone in this industry, in my city, whatever. And then came LinkedIn, and then you realized, maybe a friction of from
change the game for sure.
Yeah, it's a game changer. So think about this one exactly now. So instead of the bank just picking the phone and saying, oh, I have 5 guys that reach out to me and they are doing some NPLs buying, so I'll just call them and I'll open a data room somewhere, and then I'll send them an email from another place, and then I'll have a meeting with them, and then I'll call my lawyer, and then he will call them. So take all of this and just put it on one platform, and then technology is working for you, and you can just click the button. Everyone will just see your deal, and then you can actually manage it and be much more efficient. And of course, fees. So we are using technology. The market standard fees are like 5%. We're doing 2%. This is a huge gap that we can do it because we're using technology and not running each deal with like 10, 15 people.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's the efficiencies and the way it cuts through and allows these sort of things to happen fascinate me, and that LinkedIn analogy is absolutely on point. Keren, I want to move a little bit into your story because I think it's fascinating, and I'm going to talk back about a LinkedIn. Circling back to LinkedIn again. I saw something from you, a little while ago that I thought got a lot of traction, went viral on LinkedIn, and it was a little bit about your story. And I want to focus on this because I think it's great. So you came over to America 6 years ago now, I believe, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. And co-founded a business 3 years ago. And I think one of the great things about this story is this is somewhere there where people were telling you that it couldn't be done, that it shouldn't be done, that you were set up to fail, etc., etc. And so far proven them very much wrong, which I love from it. But I loved your point in there, saying, look, after being told no about why you couldn't succeed in a startup for numerous different reasons, which you can go into. It's you're sat there and saying that the things that absolutely, and this is something which is very, very dear to my heart, which is saying that there's the things that you've noticed are the lessons of 6 years in America, 3 years in fintech, have been that the things that make success happen in the space is about passion, people, and hard work. And if anyone who knows me has heard me speaking over the last 20 years of doing my job, you look at 3 ingredients that I think are the secret sauce of any successful business. it's an absolute passion for what you're doing. My job, fortunately, is about people, and making sure that we put great people into great businesses that allow them to, to sort of grow and thrive. So I absolutely agree with you on that. And hard work is very difficult to substitute for success in anything else as well. So tell me a little bit about what made you write that post on LinkedIn, and take us through that story a little bit, because I love it, and I think it's a great one to share with people.
Okay, so part of like being an entrepreneur and creating this startup, people were starting to reach out to me and say, okay, you need to be out there. It's like you can't be like an anonymous person. You have to like share your story, share like people want to know you. Eventually people are doing business with people, not with technology. Even if technology will be super advanced, still we need this like relationship and personal connection. So I decided to start like from the beginning and actually share my story, and it was I was surprised to see how many people react, people that I'll never meet and I never thought I might meet. So it was really nice to see, and I got a lot of love, and it's really nice, and it's nice to feel this this support. So what I shared over there is like, more than 6 years ago, we relocated to New York, my husband and my partner in the startup. Another crazy story. So he's a professor of law at Columbia University, and then we decided to come for his sabbatical only for a year. I took a leave of absence from my job in Israel. I left my car in my garage. I left my apartment standing in Israel and just came for a year, just a fun year here in New York. And 6 years later, I'm still here in New York. I don't have an apartment in Israel anymore, and not a car.
I was going to say, what happened to the car?
Yeah, exactly. The car is gone. The apartment is gone. The parking space is gone. And then so the first year was fun. It was just the first sabbatical. The second year, I realized we're staying, and we need to create a new life. So people are imagining relocation only on the fun part of it, but it's like you need to create a new life, new friends, you need to find a place that you like the grocery. It's like it's everything from the start, and you need to learn English because you need to use it. So everyone in Israel knows English, but it's not the same what you learn in school and what real life is bringing over, as you can hear.
I honestly, you keep talking yourself down on that, but you're better than me.
No, I'm not. We just have different accents. That's it. And then wandering around in New York, meeting new people, sending my son to school, getting to know the city and the people around. Zora and I were starting thinking, what are we going to do? It's like, okay, we are here, we're staying. We want to do something that will take everything that we did until now. As you can see, I'm not that young anymore, and it's like we did a lot in our life, and just dropping it, it felt like not something right for me. And then we came up with a startup idea, as I said, from something we wrote on the newspaper, and then we decided to try. I must say that what you read about startup and what people think about startup, it's not what's going on behind the scenes. It's a lot of hard work, and
it's not the glamorous bit. They don't
exactly.
Talk about it.
So there is some glamorous, but it's not a 90-10. It's a 10-90. Yeah. And I do, and I always say it's a roller coaster that doesn't have a stop. It's like you're once you're on it, it never stops. And you need to be ready for this ride. But I'm so happy we did it and we tried it. And as you said, many people told me that it's not going to happen. So I wasn't born in America. English is not my first language. I didn't study at Wharton or Penn or whatever. I'm not from the financial industry. I didn't work for JP Morgan ever in my life. So I had, and for the tech world, I was like almost 40 when we started the startup, and it's like 40 for startup world is like, wow, what are you doing here? You can be my grandma. So it's like everything was like wrong positioning. And then we decided to work with banks on top of things and institutional investors. And then people said, okay, you're either, we don't know what's wrong with you, but that's not going to happen. It's like all knows that you can collect, you put like in one basket. But still, as I said, and I think that now even more than before. So it's about really about entrepreneurs and people believing in themselves and not like not seeking the advice of other people that think you can't, you won't, you shouldn't. It's not about other people. It's about us believing in ourselves, doing all the hard work, constantly doing the hard work every day, even when it's very hard and you want to like say, okay, that's I'm over, I'm done, I'm too old for that. Let's find someone else that will take it. And it happens sometimes. It's just like being persistent, keep going. And I think the most important thing is the people that are around you. So creating the best team, sometimes even like it's more important than the best product, because if you have a great team that have a mutual goal, working together nicely, with like a lot of vision and a lot of like inspiration and a lot of like belief, you can do it. So I'm always telling that in Israel, a lot of startup were like, first they created the team and only then they came up with the idea. And it worked beautifully. So you can do it this way or this way, but you have to have this like strong team to start with. And thanks God we have it, and we have amazing people on our team, and we couldn't do it without them. It's like it's really like we need everyone on board to do like to make a startup happen.
Yeah, I think there's so much sense to that, and if you look at the Israeli tech startup scene, it has been, it's punched way above its weight for years, and it's as has so much of Israel full stop. It outperforms compared to its size, and always has done. And I think that's particularly around tech and everything that's innovated around there, and as a centre for innovation. And it comes down to exactly what you've just spoken about. The talent density, to coin the Netflix term, is all about having those sort of world-class teams and then being able to create amazing things that come out of it. And this is one of my soapbox subjects which I talk on for hours and hours and hours, because I believe fundamentally that any business is solely reliant on its people. And if you have a great product but you've got terrible people, that business will never achieve anything.
Never.
And conversely, if you've got a poor product but you select the best people then to deal with it, and you know what problem you're looking to solve, that product can become world class. It doesn't happen the other way around. You can't have a world class product and expect it to do everything in itself and continue to iterate and improve for a long term. And that's where you see so many different things. So that core selection of a team is my great passion in my professional life, to make sure that everyone understands the significance and the importance of making sure that they're collecting great people around it. And I'm so pleased to hear you talk about that sort of special sauce to any business, and how it comes about as well.
And it was, I think, not the hardest and most like that I spent like tons of time and money on it. That was the real challenge, getting the right team, the right people on board with us. And it was much harder than technology. It was much harder than even selling it to new customers. The market was so competitive. We're working with like top talent from the financial industry. It's very expensive to have them, and it sometimes, like at the beginning, it takes time to understand that you cannot do it without them. You cannot like exchange a top tier financial industry manager with like 3 young professionals that just graduated from college. It's not working. Sometimes you need those people, you need their experience. And we saw a huge change when we came up with the right team. It was like a magic, like everything's just happening. And now through COVID, so I don't know, the offices here in New York are still closed. We're not going, like last 8 months, we're working like remotely. But it worked beautifully because the team is so strong. Everyone has this passion to break it, to make it, to like be out there, to be very successful, and it works.
I love that. And exactly the point. Look, the durability of this time has absolutely tested strength of teams and people's trust and faith and in their people. And if you've got that sort of quality of people around it, it's made this whole period actually workable for the companies that have had that right. For companies that haven't, it's been a lot more pressured for sure. The other thing I want to talk to you about on your background is your sort of journey to co-founding a fintech business, because as you say, look, there isn't that financial services background, which is unusual. So what I see, traditionally in terms of a founder in the space is probably about 3 or 4 different backgrounds. You have a number of people who come from a legal background, so people who've been in that sort of space, who've seen, particularly around the compliance sector, opportunities in the marketplace. And I've been speaking to a lot of people over the recent months who are lawyers turned entrepreneurs, down that particular route. The second one is a sort of increasing wave of product people, so product managers, heads of product CPOs, who've then taken their sort of experience and ready to sort of look at a market and disrupt in that sort of space. And there's been some real success around that area. The third piece is technologists, and quite often I see with that, so pure techies who are providing problems, are solving purist problems, so not necessarily the most commercial issues, which absolutely need that sort of play. And so where they succeed is because they create great tech. Where they lose it is because traditionally that sort of mix of technology and sales and people have not blended as particularly well. People management haven't blended as particularly well as it could do. So there's another route for it. And the one which I see as which is probably seen as the traditional route for entrepreneurs in particular is that sales sort of route, or finance. So finance is probably a 5th piece, but you look at the CFO or a financial director turned entrepreneur. But probably the traditional route has been sales. In FS, you probably see a little bit less of that. Mm-hmm. But with your background being a chief revenue officer and going through there, how's that helped you in this journey so far?
So first of all, I used to be a lawyer also, but I'm not.
Oh,
but that didn't push me anywhere, trust me. So first of all, I think what I took from being a chief revenue back in Israel is more about the operation and being able to manage a success team. So it's like choosing the right people, giving them whatever they need to be successful, supporting them, and being able to manage all this operation. So I think this is the most important part that I took from sales. But I think maybe entrepreneurial spirit and maybe being brave or believe in yourself and is also important, and not like your background is important, but not, it's like, even if you're not coming from product, from law, from sales, from, I don't know, whatever, you can still do it. So you have, but you need to have like this strong passion to do it. You need to do a great market research, and you need to work with the right people. And then you can see people coming from all different places and different backgrounds that are really, really successful. So I think that going back to the post, I think that's what made a lot of people reacted to my post, because they were looking for this, for someone that will say, you can do it. So even if you're not, you don't have this classic background, you can still do it. Yeah. You might need different partners to achieve this goal. You might look for different people to join your team. You might do it in a different space, but you can still do it. It's like, and I think this is the most important part, because until today, people are still asked, like, a lot of questions are about my background. I'm not coming from finance. I'm not from the US. So what dragged me into it? How you can make it? It's about teams and about belief. And it's like, and I must say, it's not only about us. So I'm a big, I'm a religious believer. I believe in God, and I do believe that you should create some space for God to help you. And it's not all about us. So what we're doing, we should do very, very well. We should work really hard. We should build a very strong team, but we should leave some space and believe that not everything is in our hands and we're not controlling everything. And I think COVID is just a great, great example of what we have in mind about what the world can do and cannot do, what can happen and what is already like back in the past and will never happen. So, and here it is. It's a plague. We didn't expect it. We thought we left it like back in like whatever, but here it is. So not everything is on our hands.
No, absolutely, and I agree with that. I mean, you look back through the sort of corridor of history, and it's not riddled over hundreds and hundreds of years with loads of times like the one we're experiencing right now, and this has been a great accelerator for experience and people being able to learn and adapt and react to all of those sort of things. And as you say, look, there are things that are in your control, and there are things that sometimes aren't. But what is how you can react to that and find that opportunity. And I find it massively inspiring, and I love hearing about it and hearing what you've got to say. I want to end just by sort of wrapping this up by talking a little bit about crystal balls and what's happening in the future. We lurch into 2021. This may even go out in 2021 as we're doing it. So as we look at that and see, as you mentioned, you put some predictions there about Q1 and what we're going to see with the sort of time bomb of distressed debt that's out there. Tell us a little bit about a prediction or two for next year and what you see happening in 2021, and also what we can expect to see from Metechi and what your ambitions and hopes and dreams are for the year ahead.
Okay, so we are, as I said, focusing heavily on the distressed debt and going out to the market and becoming an alternative. So I do feel like eventually technology is changing people's state of mind. So I'm always using the Uber example. When I came from Israel and I said, how should I, so I need to take my son to school, it's snowing, what should I do? And people told me, take an Uber. And I said, what's an Uber? And they said, a driver that you don't know, come to pick you in his private car, and he will drop you whatever you need. And I said, I'll go with a driver that I don't know in his own private car. This is like, it will never happen. But then I tried it, and now I'm like VIP in Uber, and I'm using Uber 3 times, 4 times a day. It's like, and when I'm going to places that they don't use Uber, I can't understand why they're not using Uber. So that's exactly what Metechi is doing now. So
especially with that car still in Israel.
Exactly. And I don't have a car here in New York. I got it in Israel. So that's exactly what Metechi is doing now, to reaching out to banks, to brokers, to lenders, to financial institutions, and saying, okay, think about Uber. So you can still pick up the phone, reach out to people, use all kind of different solution, or you can use Metechi, do it more efficient, use technology for your own effort. So I do think we'll see more and more technology in the service of commercial real estate, especially distressed debt and note sale on 2021. And for Metechi, we're doing this one, but eventually Metechi, what we want to achieve is being not about commercial real estate, but about finance. So you can do through Metechi deals that are related to commercial real estate, but you can do through Metechi all other deals that are not related to commercial real estate, but they need debt financing. So we are thinking about Metechi more on the, and that's why we are, constantly saying we're a fintech and not a prop tech. So we just needed to start it somewhere. Everyone needs to choose where they start. So we started at commercial real estate, but eventually we want to do all different aspects of finance.
Lovely, and I think that's a great ambition to look at, isn't it? Because it's so wide ranging in terms of where they could go. Completely. So who should be getting in touch with you? Who should be reaching out to you?
Anyone that is institutions, banks, brokers that are dealing with commercial real estate, distressed or performing, we can do both.
Fantastic. And what's the best way of them doing it? Where should they reach you?
So my LinkedIn, again, my LinkedIn is I have everything over there. Our company page, metechi.com.
Get in touch.
Yeah, get in touch. My email is there. Everything is there. Would love to hear from you.
Fantastic. Well, look, I love hearing the story. I'm really excited to sort of see that continued growth of what you're doing, and congratulations. Keep proving them wrong. It's wonderful to see. Thank you so much for doing that. It's been a really inspiring sort of afternoon to listen to that sort of story, and I hope everyone's enjoyed it as much as I have. Keren, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thanks.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon on another episode of Fintech Focus TV. Thanks so much.